Hello everyone and welcome to Fat Kid Projects. Today we're going to be making a choripan. It's a really easy to make, very simple but super delicious South American sandwich made with chorizo and a chimichurri. There's quite a few different ways to go about it, and you can find it all over South America and even parts of Miami. But I'm just going to do it with a chimichurri that I make from some parsley and onions, and we'll go from there. Start out with, got some parsley, some garlic, and some green onion I'm going to chop up. Easiest way to go about peeling garlic, just smash the cloves that you're going to use. Using about 3 cloves here. Might do 4. Well, this is fresh garlic. There's not a whole lot of root in there. If you got really big roots in your garlic, it can make it a little bit bitter. So when I smash them, I tend to want to make sure that, if there is some, it's very minimal. If there's a big one in there, I always pull it out. Choripan, obviously chori, meaning chorizo, being a Spanish sausage, and pan, I'm not bilingual, but as far as I know, pan is going to be Spanish for bread, hence choripan. This is such an easy sandwich to make, and growing up, I've always loved bratwurst. Being in Seattle, we got the Seattle dogs and Seattle hot dog vendors everywhere in the corners when you go out at night. Traditional Seattle dog is going to be a bratwurst with some fried onions and some sour cream and sometimes sriracha on top of it. And this is kind of a little bit more of a Spanish take on that. There's quite a few different ways to go about chopping garlic. Since I wanted to completely incorporate into the olive oil, I'm going to chop it up a little bit first, sprinkle some really coarse salt on it, which makes it a little bit more abrasive when I'm chopping it and gets it really fine. Go through it a few more times. Make sure I have everything off of the edge here. And then we're going to smush it down, get all those oils out of it. I always use fresh garlic. Never use anything that's canned garlic or in any sort of container. That's good right there. Throw that in our bowl. There's a lot of ways to go about making a chimichurri like this, and there's no real recipe. With most of the things that I cook, I don't have actual recipes. I kind of just taste it as I go and see what I'm going to want with it. I don't use all of the green onion. I typically like to start in the middle, where the green is more the garnish part. And as you get in the back, when it starts getting more whitish, that's where the flavor of the green onion comes in. Add some of that there. And with the parsley, just chop it all up. Stems and everything. Parsley's going to make the brunt of the herbs in it. Maybe a little bit more. Go through it a couple more times. It's at this point that I usually like to add my olive oil. Lots of different types of olive oil. I like something a little bit more robust when it comes to a chimichurri. Something with a little bit more flavor. You can get light olive oils that don't carry that olive flavor as much, but with something that's being used as a sauce, I find that the more robust the olive oil is, the better that it is for the sauce. And we do want it kind of drippy, so definitely gonna need some more in there than that. I have to go to the store and buy some more olive oil soon. Yeah, it's starting to look good. We're gonna add more after I add some other ingredients. So we do want a little bit of acidity to this. What I see most of the time online, if you look at recipes, is people using like a red wine vinegar. I don't really have any red wine vinegar right now. What I am going to use is this Chardonnay white balsamic. Put a bit of that in there. Probably about 3 tablespoons worth. And then you could add these individually, but this is just a Mexican seasoning that has everything combined in it. Let's see, we got onion, garlic, basil, cumin, red pepper, oregano, jalapeno, and cilantro. Just mainly adding it more so than anything else for the oregano. And then on top of that, I like it to have a little bit more spice. So we're going to add a bit of red pepper there. Probably about 3 teaspoons. Mix that up some more and see how it's looking. Pretty good, but I think I want a little bit more of this olive oil. The good thing is with it being real saucy, it completely soaks into that bread. Makes it so delicious. And finally, what I like to add is a bit of honey. Some sweetness to offset the acidity of the balsamic that I added. And that chimichurri is looking real good. Real simple. So such a simple meal, but man, is it delicious. Salt and pepper to taste. Mix it up real good. Give it a little taste. Yeah, it's really good. We're going to add a little bit more garlic though. 1 more clove will do it. Smash it down a little bit. I'm not going to bother salting it this time because there's already enough salt in the chimichurri. And as I said, there's no real recipe to this. I'm not going off of any set amounts. And you get different varieties of choripan depending on what part of South America you go to. But I've always been a fan of Argentinian grills and the way they grill meats, and this is more aligned to what they would do. Let's try this. Yeah, that's real good. So we're gonna let this sit in the fridge for about 2 hours, anywhere from half hour to overnight. About 2 hours is fine just to get all of that flavor into the oil. And then we'll be back and we'll grill up the sausages and throw it all together. All right, so it's been about 2 hours now. Flavor on the chimichurri has developed a little bit. And now it's time to fry up some sausages. There's a few different versions of chorizo out there. Typically Spanish chorizo is a cured meat that you could eat by itself without having to fry it up. There is other versions of Spanish chorizo as well. Mexican chorizo is typically a encased sausage with vinegar and various spices mixed into it. And you can also get Mexican chorizo that isn't in sausage form, but is basically just ground meat with various Mexican spices in it. I got this chorizo picante from a butcher in Seattle. They got all sorts of interesting sausages, but this works really well with what we're doing. So first thing, just frying up a sausage. In addition to the chorizo, we're also going to fry up a couple eggs and do them over easy so it's nice and goopy and has all that egg yolk. It can get all over that sandwich. We're going to dip it. We're going to dip the sandwich right into that egg yolk as opposed to actually putting it on the sandwich itself. So just get a pat of butter in there. Got a little bit of time to melt. We're not even going to transfer over those eggs. We're just going to leave them right in the pan. I didn't properly season my cast iron last time that I used it. So we're going to put a little extra olive oil inside of the cast iron for a little bit of lubrication when these wieners fry up. When they're about halfway done cooking, I like to split them down the center and then finish up on the other side inside of that pan. That way they sit in the sandwich a little bit better, especially since we're using baguettes as opposed to regular buns. got a little bit less space to work with, so having them flat helps spread it out throughout the entire sandwich a little bit better. Open those guys right up. Place them right back on. Okay, now as far as the eggs go, we are going to be dipping them. We don't need much on them. Just going to throw a little bit of some coarse salt on there. And top it off with a little bit of smoked paprika. Good. Now when it comes to the bread, you do want something a little bit more on the crispy side. I just have a baguette here from our local Hagen's. You could do individual sandwiches, but I kind of like the idea of just having a giant sandwich. So we're just going to cut into it, leaving the last quarter or so connected. Split that bad boy open. Stuff our sausages in. And of course, the most important part, adding lots of the chimichurri. And make sure there's a ton of it on each bite. Complements the meat extremely well, so opposed to just having a sauce, this chimichurri is kind of the go-to. And there you have it. Really simple and really delicious Southern American sandwich. All in all, probably about half hour of cooking, and that's counting, making the chimichurri and frying up the wieners. But I implore you to try it. You'll probably like it.
You should go back really quick and say Central American.
Say what?
Central American. Central. You're gonna get that in the comments.
Well, in the future, I'm only getting like 10 viewers right now. Let me take a quick picture for the thumbnail. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?